Excellent. We get everybody in?
Yeah, we got everyone in so far. Should have some more coming in. We're about a third of the way from all the folks that signed up, so we'll see what happened. Um, Heath, if you help me admit these folks in, yes.
Yeah, I got you.
All right. So 2 minutes past the hour right now, and we're just gonna wait till, a couple more folks pile in.
hmm
Almost a
I'm just
third.
looking to see if I recognize any names. I feel like I know Ray Reyes. I don't know why that name seems familiar to me. Ray, do I know you?
I think he's a neighbor.
Is he in Florida here?
Yes,
Yeah, I'm in Orlando. Plus, I went up to an event and had a chance to chat with you up in Baltimore.
I knew your name was familiar. That's awesome, buddy. It's good to see you. So you came to my event in Baltimore?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, thank
Good
you.
stuff.
Thank you. You know, it's really funny. This just happened today, so it's top of mind. There was a girl there, young Asian girl named TN, and we were like trying to get her to do the coaching. We're like, you can do this. You've got this. She was a pharmacist, and it like took everything we had to get her to sign up. She just sent in her progress, and she did 442 freaking doors last year. I'm like,
wow.
oh, that's awesome. Anyway, it's good to see you, Ray.
Same here. Looking forward to the night.
Well, I don't have much to share. It's the same stuff, but I'll do the best I can for us.
Oh man. All right. Well, Hutch, should we wait another couple minutes or should we go ahead and get started?
Yeah, we can wait another couple minutes, but while we do that, what I can do, I'm gonna get on Meetup right now, and I'm looking at the folks that signed up. We got 73 people signed up, and I just want to touch on some of those big audacious goals if I can see them. I need to go on the phone because there's some folks, Rod, with some really big audacious goal that,
I thought I saw 1,000 units or something. Somebody
Yeah.
go big or go home.
Yes, that's what my commanding officer usually say: go big or go home. All right, so we got a gentleman looking to do 500 units. We got a passive investor looking to deploy 150K. Another investor looking to syndicate 400 units, 200 plus units, 30 units, 100 plus units. We have a young lady that wants to that is committed to raising $30 million for her fund, right? So those that's some big audacious goal there. Acquire 10 properties, syndicate 300 units, buy a multifamily apartment. So we got some new investors as well. We have this one gentleman is looking to raise $100 million, right? So we'll see if he shows up.
And
So
you shoot for the stars. If you only hit the moon, you're still doing okay. So
What my dad always says.
yeah,
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely. I love that.
Yeah, we've got a gentleman who's looking to build a property management company, looking to get about 400K on the management, 400,000 on the management. Looking for a gentleman looking to sell 33 homes, take down 20 properties. And that is just to name a few. Got one gentleman that wants to be on his first GP in 2021. So these are some really big, audacious goals that our attendees are aspiring or committed. I like to use the word committed to accomplishing in 2021 and beyond. So really appreciate y'all coming out to this event. And if you have never heard Rod Khleif spoke before, look, the man is very inspirational. And if you have heard him spoken before, just think to yourself, how often do you go to the gym? Probably 1, 3, 4, 5 times a week, right? Why do you do that? You go there to continuously build that muscle. And when you get in motivation and seeking inspiration, sometimes that information needs to be repeated. Because look, I can, by the show of hand, who have read Think and Grow Rich more than once? Why do we do that? We do that because as we mature, the information becomes more relatable to us, right? So it's really good to continue to work out your brain muscles as much as you work out your biceps and triceps and chest muscle and core and all the good stuff, So really appreciate y'all coming out, and this is going to be good. And please stick around if you have some time after Rod Khleif's presentation, and we will go into the mentorship section, the networking session, so we all can get to know each other a little better.
Nice.
Right.
Nice.
All right. So Rod has graciously joined us tonight. Give a little background about him. He's
Oh,
owned.
please. No, please, please,
No?
please. No,
I want
please
to
don't
talk
make me.
about your podcast and your book.
Oh,
but-
I'll bring it up. I appreciate you. I appreciate you doing that. I'll talk about it. Won't make me suffer through my bio,
All right,
please.
no worries. Well, right now, Hutch and I, we're H Squared Capital. We invest in the Southeast. We run the Southeast Multifamily Meetup. And this whole meetup today is about goal setting and how to achieve those goals. And so Hutch and I have some pretty big, audacious goals ourselves. We are looking to get 100 veterans into apartment deals to help get their time back. We really are striving to help create income streams for retired service members. And so we're starting our March to 1,000 Door campaign, where we think that will provide the infrastructure for getting veterans into deals. And so that's a 2-year goal. So for 2021, our top 5 big goals are: we want to get 500 doors by the end of the year. We think that's going to be consist of 4 to 5 deals, possibly 6. We want to raise $5 million, an average of 1.25 per quarter. We want to get 50 veterans into apartment deals for 2021. And we're going to donate 10% of our acquisition fees to foundations supporting veterans. And we're looking to donate at least $50K in 2021. And so we are so glad that Rod is here so that we can get all the information we need and the motivation we need to start tackling these goals. And so we're pretty excited. We're excited about the years to come. Hutch and I hit all of our goals for last year. In fact, we blew past a couple of them. I put a goal for 45 podcast episodes, and that was 4 weeks into the year. And Hutch is like, "Why? There's 48 weeks left. We do one a week." I was like, "You're right." And we hit that goal. We also raised more money and got co-sponsored a deal that we were very proud to be a part of. So pretty excited and looking forward to smashing it in 2021. And what better way to start than having the man himself come in and help us learn how to crush our goals and maintain that motivation. Because as we all know, you start out like gung-ho in January, and by about, January 11th, your resolutions are probably already starting to slip. So we're looking forward to learning how to sustain the motivation, especially after such a trying year last year. So without further ado, we're going to let Mr. Rod Khleif take over and run this train. So thank you again.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here. And so I recognize another name just popped in, Jefferson. Good to see you, my friend. So listen, I'm not going to do what I always do. I've got what I think I'd like to talk about. Well, let me tell you my story first. For those of you that haven't heard it, those of you that have, you have to suffer through it. I won't take very long, but I immigrated to this country when I was 6 years old. I was born in Holland. I was born in the Netherlands, wooden shoes, windmills, and ended up in Denver, Colorado, where I lived for 30 years. And we struggled. I mean, we really struggled. I remember, I wore literally clothes from the Goodwill and the Salvation Army all the way through junior high school till I lied about my age. And when I was 14, got a job at Burger King and was able to buy my own clothes, and bought a car when I was 15, wrecked it before I got my license. But anyway, I won't digress. But anyway, so, we struggled. I remember eating expired food because that's, what we could buy, and drinking powdered milk because my mom thought milk was healthy. But luckily, my mom had an incredible work ethic. And see, I knew I wanted more than that. And she babysat kids so we'd have enough money to eat. And with her babysitting money, she was a bit of an entrepreneur. She invested in the stock market and made money, but she also bought the house across the street from us when I was 14 for about $30,000. And then when I was 17, she told me she made $20,000 on it. And I'm like, what? Screw college, Mom. I'm sorry. I'm getting into real estate. So I actually got my real estate broker's license right when I turned 18. I wasn't just an agent, I was a broker, which you could do with education back then. Now they got smart, you need some experience, but I was a broker and I was going to be rich selling other people's houses. Well, my first year, I made about $8,000 in real estate sales. My second year, I made about $10,000. By my third year, I made over $100,000, which back in 1981 was pretty good money. So what happened between year 2 and year 3 that caused me to 10x my income? Well, what happened was I met a guy, I actually worked with him. I dated his daughter, and he taught me about the importance of mindset and psychology, how truly 80 to 90% of your success in anything is that, your mindset and your psychology. Only 10 to 20% is the real estate stuff or the entrepreneurship or the investing or whatever it is. If it was just knowledge, there'd be a bunch of wealthy librarians and college professors out there. It's the do and it's the keep doing. It's the pushing through fear and limiting beliefs and getting uncomfortable to make it happen. And so, fast forward to today, I've owned a couple thousand houses that I rented long-term. I've owned multiple apartment complexes. In 2006, my net worth went up $17 million while I slept. And if you want to do the math on that, it's 8,300 and something an hour over a 40-hour work week, which of course I did. And I thought I was a freaking real estate god. I could barely fit my head through a door. And when that happens, God or the universe or whatever you believe will give you a nice little smack. Well, that was 2008 for me. I lost 50 million bucks in 2008. And so what I enjoy talking about and what I want to talk to you guys about tonight is some strategies around mindset, the ones I used to have 50 million to lose in the first place, but then what I used to get back to the success that I'm blessed to have today. And so, yes, it starts with goals. And so I'm so glad that Heath and Hutch had you guys, to start articulating your goals. Now, I take, one of the first things I do at my boot camps, I used to have live boot camps back in May of last year. I was scheduled to have 800 people in Orlando, and we all know what happened to that. In fact, we were freaking out. And so we took it virtual. We actually had 900 people at a virtual event. It was our largest event ever. And so now I'm doing them virtually. I'm building a studio here at a video studio here at my home, and it's looking really good. But anyway, that one of the first things we do at these boot camps is a goal setting on steroids workshop. And so I'll give you guys an opportunity. I've got one coming up in February. I don't sell anything there. It's 2 full days of training, and I'll give you guys a coaching come for $97. So it's like 16 to 18 hours of training for $97. It's kind of a duh, but if you're interested, so I'll give you that stuff later. But anyway, so that's one of the first things we do because it's so freaking important. How are you going to get what you want if you don't know what it is, right? I mean, with clarity, okay? Clarity is power. So you really need to take the time to go through a process like that, not just have 1 or 2 big goals, but really think about everything you could want in life. And then we work you through making sure you know exactly why you want it. And it's a really cool process. And if you don't want to join me, by the way, at my boot camp, I did it on in my Facebook group. I've got the largest multifamily Facebook group, I think, in the world, with almost 37,000 people in it. And January 2nd, I did the exercise. I did the whole hour, 15-minute goal setting thing. So you could go there and watch it. I'm pretty sure it's still there. And I've got a guide you can use and print and fill out. It's, there's no cost. But that's so critical because, like Napoleon Hill said in Think and Grow Rich, you've got to have a burning desire. Okay. Why? Because you're going to get up early. You're going to stay up late. You're going to work weekends. You're going to, take time away and make sacrifices, take time away from the people that matter. And to do that, you've got to have that burning desire to push through potentially limiting beliefs that you may have, or fears, a fear of failure, fear of rejection, whatever it is. You've got to have that burning desire. And so you got to want it. I mean, you got to want it bad. And that's how maybe you're comfortable. The comfort zone's a warm place, but nothing freaking grows there, right? So, that burning desire gets you back up when you get knocked down. That's why I got back up, after I lost 50 million. I mean, listen, I thought I was set for life. I thought 80 million baby boomers getting old and getting cold. All my assets were here in Florida. I figured, I was golden, but, it was a major crash and burn, and it was a real wake up for me. But I just, I reassociated with what I wanted and why I wanted it. And I did some of these other strategies that I'm going to share with you guys tonight. And that's what, that's why I'm back. We bought 2,300 units in the last 18, 19 months with our students. I've got hundreds of coaching students around the country. I mean, it's because I've adopted these success principles, and please know all these things that I'm going to share with you tonight about me. I can only use examples of me is not me bragging. Okay. In fact, a lot of things I'm going to share with you don't even interest me anymore, but I'm hoping to inspire you to what's possible and how this stuff works. Okay. So even if you've got an average ability, if you've got a burning desire, success is inevitable, period. You know, you've got to want it as bad as you want to breathe. So, you know, like I said, if you want to join me for my 2-day boot camp, for $97, it's a dub, but if not, check out that, walk yourself through it. In fact, I'd invite you to bring your significant other and have them do it with you as well. So you guys see how aligned you are in your goals. That's really important as well. The next thing you must do is, once you've got your goals outlined, is you've got to make a decision. Okay. You've got to decide. And what I mean by a decision is not like a 1 foot in, 1 foot out sort of a thing. When you decide, it is freaking done. Okay. It's 100%. And when it's the difference between being interested and being committed. If you're interested, you'll get knocked off track. If you're committed, you're like a freaking train on a track. Okay. When you're committed, you're going to take massive action, and it's no longer just a dream. It's an outcome. Motivation will get you going. It'll get you started, but commitment's what's going to bring you home. And that starts by making a decision. Okay. And when I say decision, I mean, the Latin root for the word decision is to cut off. Like if you're going to take the island in battle, you burn your ships because you're taking their damn ships back. Okay. That's a decision. It's 100%. And then once you've made that decision, you've got 100% commitment. You also have to take 100% ownership for your life. It's not your spouse's fault, your kid's fault, your dog's, whatever happens to you, you got to own it. 100% responsibility, 100% ownership for every aspect of your life. All right. The next piece of this is you've got to have positive expectation. You've got to be an optimist. You've got to believe that it'll happen, because that's how you manifest it. And I'll drill down on that a little bit more in a minute. It's so easy right now to focus on pain. There's so much, don't get me started on the freaking election, but there's so much crap out there right now. And the news is not there to inform us. It's there to startle us and scare us and flame us up. So, you've got to be, if you're watching this, if you're on this call, you're a leader, and the world needs leaders right now. And as a leader, you must direct your focus. I'm going to talk about focus a little more in a minute, but it's so easy to focus on pain and struggle. In fact, most people focus on what they don't want. Okay. The problem is, whatever you focus on gets larger, right? What you expect is what you get. Okay. So, it's so critical not to minimize your expectations, and not operate from fear or limiting beliefs. You decide what you want, you declare what you want, and God or the universe or whatever you believe will conspire to make it happen. Okay. When you expect amazing things, you get amazing things, and right now like I said, it's so critical that you stand guard at the door to your mind. You don't let the crap in. Okay. If you don't listen to my podcast, you may get value. We just broke 10 million downloads, which it just blows my mind. But I think you'll get value even if you don't do multifamily, because I have these clips that I do every week called Own Your Power. And they're just 5 minutes, but that's the kind of good stuff you need to be bringing in. They're very motivational. I play some music with them now, and I think you'll really enjoy them. So there's lots of great stuff on YouTube that you can take in, but you really got to be careful. In fact, I used to scroll through social media and the news and I literally, my blood pressure went up. So now I've got this app where I put in what I want, and it's called, hang on, my daughter did this for me recently. It's called Mix, and it's got all the things that I enjoy reading. And so I'm not caught up in all the crap right now. Okay. So really, guys, right now, I just want to tell you, if that's you, if you know who you are, you're dealing with that stuff right now, and you're getting kind of sucked into it. Do everything you can to extricate yourself, because you've got to stand guard at the door to your mind. And just remember this. Life is about meaning. Doesn't matter what happens to you, you choose the meaning you place on it. Okay. 2 people can have the exact same seemingly horrible thing happen to them, and each one of them can place a different meaning on it. One can be empowering, one can be disempowering. So just remember that you place the meaning on what happened to you. Like I lost $50 million. The meaning on that is, if it hadn't happened, I wouldn't have met my wife, and I wouldn't give her up. I'd lose it all over again. Okay. So that's the meaning I've put on that, that loss. The other thing is remember not to sweat the small stuff, especially right now, because, don't fear failure. We'll talk about that a little more in a minute, but don't sweat the small stuff. 99.9% of it never happens anyway. I use things to motivate me. I have pictures of the things that I want. I use I am statements all the time. Hang on, let me shut down these. Sorry about that. Shut down. I don't know how to have these things stop popping up when I'm talking. Forgive me. I thought I'd shut everything down. Anyway, so I use I am statements. In fact, let me show you some of them here on my wall. I don't know if you can see that. I've got focus, grind now, play later, comfort kills. There's a Grant Cardonism. I am success. I am a business genius. I'm the best in the world at what I do. Over here, I've got health. I am health and energy. I'm determination, focus. I'm execution. I'm the world's greatest husband. I'm changing the lives of millions of people. It's these aren't things this isn't like bragging stuff. This is what I'm aspiring to do. So I've got these I am statements in my exercise room. I've got them in my, man, that beeping is driving me crazy. I apologize. I've got them in my exercise room. I've got them in my other office, in this office. Guys, use I am statements, because anything you put the words I am in front of is an identity statement, okay? It's your identity. And there is no greater force in the human psyche than the need to remain consistent with how we identify ourselves, right? All right, so now I want to expand a little bit on fear and limiting beliefs. So, when I immigrated this country, I didn't speak English. I got thrown into school and I discovered what bullies were for the first time. I got my butt kicked on a regular basis. I didn't have a father figure and I didn't know how to fight yet. And, and then my mom, God bless her, proud Dutch woman that she was, thought it'd be a great idea to send me in school in wooden shoes for show and tell and those leather shorts that the Germans wear for Oktoberfest. So I got my butt kicked again. And then the bullies would chase me home and my mom would chase them off with a fly swatter. And of course, the next day I got my butt kicked again. And so what happened was, I created this belief system that I wasn't good enough. In fact, I used to ask myself the question, how can I show them I'm good enough? Which of course presupposes that I wasn't. And so many of us have these limiting beliefs or, about ourselves, these belief systems. And there's a reason that the acronym for belief systems is BS, because they are, okay? We had this emotional event happen to us that we place some emphasis on and we think it's factual and it's not. And a lot of us have these negative things like, I'm not old enough. I'm not, I'm not young enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. I don't have enough money. I don't have the technical ability, whatever. And again, they have no basis in fact. And so if you have any of these limiting beliefs, let me tell you what you have to do. And I go on this a little more detail in my boot camp, but let me just share something real quick. What you want to do is you drag it out into the daylight and you just look at it with your adult rational mind and you realize that it's BS. Okay. And I had to come to the realization, anybody that would reject me just didn't know me. Okay. Or they had their own crap going on. Okay. And that's what you've got to do. You've got to really look at it rationally. And here's the key thing. When it pops up, look at it consciously. Don't just skim over it and it will start to diminish. Very, very important. All right. Then the next thing is you've got to take the first step. I see this with my students all the time. It's like Dr. Martin Luther King said, you don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step in faith. I remember, when I started buying houses in Denver, I would knock on doors of people that were in foreclosure. Let me tell you, that first house scared the hell out of me. Okay. Actually, probably the first 30 scared the hell out of me, but you do it. And then, I see it with my students all the time. It's like, they join our program. It's like 6-8 months, sometimes even a year, and they haven't done anything. They're frustrated. They get that deal and they're like, next thing I know, they've got 6 of them. Okay. It's like, it's that law of the first deal. The first one's the hardest. It's the most stressful. It's the scariest. But once it's done, they're like dominoes. Okay. So just remember that, guys. You've got to take action. You've got to take that first step. You can drive all the way across the United States at night, seeing 50 feet in front of you, and you'll make it. Now, you don't know what obstacles you run into, but other people have done it. And it's the same thing with this or any business, okay? And you've got to realize that, but you've got to take freaking action, right? This life is not a dress rehearsal. We do not want any regrets, okay? I'm here to tell you, you could fear failure, but I'm going to tell you, I would be much more worried about fearing regret. I would fear regret. Okay. That's much worse than failure. We fail our way to success. I don't call them failures. That was a $50 million seminar. And, I built 24 businesses in my life. Actually 4 have been worth tens of millions of dollars, but the rest have been spectacular flaming seminars. Okay. I mean, I crashed and burned. We failed our way to success, guys. Don't fear failure. I got to meet the billionaire owner of Spanx, the ladies' undergarments. Her name's Sarah Blakely, beautiful human being. And, she told me at a mastermind that we both joined that her dad used to ask her, what have you failed at today? And if you've got kids, man, I think that is the most awesome question you can ask them. I'll tell you another thing about regret. There was a nurse in Australia named Bronnie Ware. She was a hospice nurse. So she took care of people at the end of their lives, right? And she asked them a question, which was, do you have any regrets? And she even wrote a book about it. It's called The 5 Regrets of Dying. You want to know what the number 1 regret was? It was not living the life I could have lived, living someone else's life, not doing what I know I'm capable of. Guys, screw that, okay? And that's why you've got to adopt these success principles. You've got to get aligned with your goals. You've got to get aligned with why your goals are a must, and that's how you make this happen. All right, the next thing I want to talk about and drill down on a little bit more is focus. It's so freaking important. Incredible focus equals incredible. If focus goes, your energy flows. Whatever you focus on, again, is going to get larger, both positive or negative. Okay. I have people that come up to me and say, I'm trying to get rid of student loan debt. And I'm like, wrong freaking statement. Focus on making money so the student loan debt is irrelevant. They asked Mother Teresa if she was anti-war. She said, no, I'm pro-peace. It's just a simple distinction. Okay. And it's so critical that that you direct your focus right now, like I said, because you're a leader. I remember back in Denver, I was flipping houses. I had these 2 frozen yogurt shops. I had vending carts selling ice cream bars. I had a carpet cleaning business. Everything suffered because my focus was diluted, right? And then I honed in. I got rid of everything except the real estate. I bought 500 houses in that next jump that I rented out, right? So, I try to minimize distractions now, and I don't know about you, but I'm guilty of it. I'm sitting here watching a movie and I'm scrolling through freaking social media. And here's what's so bad about that. Okay. And I'm trying to minimize it myself, but here's what's so bad about that. You're making little micro decisions every split second, and you get what's called decision fatigue. Now, if you get to know me or watch me, you'll see I'm almost always in these black V-necks. And except when I'm out with my wife, because she won't put up with it. But when I don't have to, I don't have to think about what I'm going to wear. And so I wear these black V-necks, like Steve Jobs always wore the same thing when he made presentations. Didn't want to have decision fatigue, but you've got to minimize your distractions as well, guys. Okay. And so you've got to really massively cut down on your multitasking, and you've got to be okay with saying no. But let me tell you about something that I discovered, kind of a clue, as it were. So I'm excited because I got 10 million downloads on my podcast. I listened to a podcast by a guy named Tim Ferriss. I think he's one of the largest in the world. He's had, like 2 years ago, he was at 400 million. So, I mean, again, I think he gets 10 million a week, but so what he does is he deconstructs the best of the best in every walk of life. Okay. He's had Ray Dalio, billionaire, on his show. He's had, who just lost his son, horrible story. He's had, CEOs of big companies, actors, Schwarzenegger, Jamie Foxx, Ed Norton, athletes, you name it. He's had the best of the best in their fields on his show. And what he does is he deconstructs how they got there and their strategies and their thought process. And I started to hear a pattern. They almost all freaking meditate, guys. That's a clue. So why do you meditate? Because it enhances your focus. Okay. So I would encourage you to meditate. I've got this app on my phone. It's called Pizizz, P-Z-I-Z-Z. I'll show it to you here. You can, I don't know if you can see Pizizz. Yeah. P-Z-I-Z-Z. You can sleep, nap, or what is that? What's that? Or focus, it's called. It's meditation. And it's cool because, I'll sit behind this green screen here. You see my little recliner there. There's some of the hundreds of thank you cards I've got back there from people who send me love because their lives have been impacted. But anyway, I sit in that recliner and I'll set this Pizizz to like 10 minutes. I'll take a quick 10-minute nap. It puts me to sleep and wakes me up. It's cool as hell. So anyway, but meditate for focus. Because focus is so critical, guys. The next thing I want to tell you, and you'll hear this a lot if you come to my boot camp, this business is a team sport. Okay. Heath and Hutch together, co-sponsored with another team. You don't do this business by yourself. You just don't. It's very, very unusual. There's one guy in my mastermind that has done it by himself, but he is like an anomaly. So I've got the largest multifamily mastermind, I think, in the world. We've got 14 billion in assets in it now. And like I said, I've got one guy out of those 60 guys that did it himself, but that's very unusual. Everybody does this as a team sport. And so here's what I want to share with you. Do not try to build your weaknesses. Focus on your strengths. You hire, align, or partner for your weaknesses. You have to play to your strengths. Your strengths are your greatest assets. Don't try to maximize weaknesses. You are going to get so much further faster if you play to your strengths and you align with someone else for where you're weak, okay? You do what you love and you're passionate about. Success is inevitable if you align with somebody. Like in my case, I've got Robert. Robert's a CPA. He's done $1.5 billion worth of multifamily. We've got an awesome asset in Dallas that we started raising money for last Wednesday. We just raised $13 million since then. Okay. And he's handled most of it because that's his piece. That's his contribution to this. And so, I will tell you, I can't tell you how often I've met partnerships in this business where you get somebody that's a little more introverted and analytical with someone that's more outgoing and personable. Personable is the wrong word, but just building relationships. And so those are recipes for success. You're smiling. Is that your deal, Heath? Is that what you guys do? Okay, there you go. I mean, I interviewed these three kids. They're in their 20s. I just turned 61. These kids in their 20s, they had, I don't know, 70, 80 million dollars in assets between them. And it was every single one of them was a partnership like that, analytical with outgoing. And it's just because it works, guys. So how do you find out what your strengths are? You could do a DISC profile, DISC. There are other personality profiles because you may not really be consciously aware. Definitely weaknesses. That's where most people struggle. Me, for example. So DISC profile, Myers-Briggs, whatever. Ask your friends. But guys, don't live somebody else's life being miserable doing what you don't love, because if you're working in your strengths, you're going to love it. And this business requires passion. That's the next topic. For you to influence people, you got to be passionate. And the only way you're going to be passionate is if you're inspired by what you're doing. And the only way you're going to be inspired by what you're doing is if you freaking love it. Okay. So again, focus on your strengths. When you love what you do, that passion and influence just comes naturally. Okay. And again, this business and success period requires you to influence people. Your success hinges on someone on your team being able to influence. Okay. And passion is that fuel for that. So, don't settle, don't play small, figure out what juices you and inspires you and do that. And I will tell you, and I tell my students this as well. If you don't love real estate yet, then you associate pleasure with it because you can learn to love something. But if you can't learn to love it, then for God's sakes, go do something else. Okay. Life is too freaking short. But when you're working in what you love, that passion minimizes or even eliminates fear as well. Okay. So important. Next thing I want to talk about is your peer group. And I got to tell you, I started that mastermind I just described because I know the value of this. I've been in masterminds my whole life. I want to be around people that think what I think is hard is easy. Okay. And that's why I started. I had 16 people here in my compound, my house here. And this is, 2.5 years ago. And it was so freaking awesome. I only had about $1 billion in assets here, but still that's not, only I did that was not, I didn't mean that the way it sounded, but it wasn't as big as it is now, obviously, but it was incredible. And the nuances you get. So, guys, you've heard this. I'm not telling you anything, probably nothing I'm telling you tonight you haven't heard before, but hopefully some of this stuff you'll get and adopt because it's so powerful. But who you hang out with is who you become. And you've heard it. You're the sum of the 5 people you hang out with, not just financially, guys, your happiness, your health, all of that. Who you hang out with is who you become. And so many people default to people they work with or default to people they grew up with. And you have to proactively choose who you're going to hang out with. That's why I salute you guys for being here at this meetup. And I'm encouraging you to network and connect with people, because a rising tide lifts all ships, guys. And when I tell you your network is your net worth, it's just not hyperbole. It's the truth. When I get a new student in my coaching program, one of the first things I tell them is you need to meet and connect with my most successful warriors. That's what my mentorship students are called. My most successful warriors are the ones that are most connected. So you push yourself, you connect with everybody possible, because you'll find someone that's the yin to your yang, and you'll be able to make things happen. So, the thing you've got to be careful of is you could have people around you that love you. They could be family. They could be friends that will hold you back for a number of reasons. They'll hold you back for fear of losing you. They'll hold you back for fear of being embarrassed. And they're holding you back out of fear. They'll hold you back for fear of lack of knowledge about what you're doing. They'll try to poo-poo on your dreams. And so it's so critical that you pay attention to who you allow to influence you. And again, if it's family, I tell you, love your family and choose your peers. That's it, okay? So you want people around you that are going to say, hey, what are you doing? Why are you screwing around? Why aren't you out making calls working right now? You want people that hold you accountable. What are you up to? What are you doing? Again, people that think what you think is hard is easy. If you're going to play a sport with someone like tennis, for example, do you want somebody that's better than you or not better than you? Obviously better than you. That's the only way you're going to grow, right? All right, the next thing I'll talk about, which kind of encompasses all of this, which is success habits. You guys, we're all doing habits every day. Some of us serve us and help us, and some of them hurt us. And I suppose the easiest way to look at this could be health, for example. You know which ones hurt you and which ones, I got my candy right here. Shouldn't be eating the crap, but I got it here, so you know which ones are good for you and which ones aren't. But I'm going to tell you, when you change your habits, you change your life. You need habits for success, like being focused and having clarity on your goals, like focusing on results, not busy work, like massive freaking action, like building relationships, like staying healthy, not for healthy's sake, but if you're doing this business and you've got a W-2 or another business that you own, and you've got kids and a spouse, and you're trying to do this side hustle, my God, that takes massive freaking energy. So focus on your health for energy. And then, you've got to have self-discipline. You've just got to push yourself to have self-discipline. But the next thing I want to talk about, and we're good on time. Good. The next thing I want to talk about is not giving up. It's tenacity, it's grit, it's staying power, it's determination. I will tell you, when I lost everything in 2008, I built this litigation support company. And what we did was we helped families stay in their homes. We fought their foreclosures. We got them loan modifications, and we helped thousands of families. It was really good work. I didn't like the business, but because it's so litigious, but it was really good work. And so in 2010, it almost went bankrupt, and I almost pulled the plug. And what I did was, and this is really, you guys listen up to this, okay? I had to innovate and I had to pivot. And maybe some of you guys do in your core job or your business right now. You need to innovate or pivot. Like I told you, I was scheduled to have 800 people in Orlando, and we were freaking out. What the hell are we going to do? It's very, very expensive to lease a hotel, and all these people had already bought tickets. And so if you go to, in fact, let me put it in the chat here. If you go to, hang on here, or can one of you guys type it in the chat for me? Can you do that, Heath? Put in www.multifamilyvirtualbootcamp.com, multifamilyvirtualbootcamp.com. If you go there, you'll see me in my freaking backyard recording the video for that, because I did it like in one day. Okay. And like I said, we pivoted, we innovated. And so multifamilyvirtualbootcamp.com, and also put in the code RODFRIEND. And that's how you get $97 tickets to that. And again, guys, it's 2 full days of training. Every part of this business, from finding deals to building a team to raising money to syndication. I'll have Mauricio do syndication, an attorney. I'll have, a finance person do the finance. I'll have like 3 or 4 panels a day with a couple $1 billion represented answering questions. And I don't sell anything there. Okay. So it's a duh. So if you're interested in this business and you want to learn this business, come spend 2 days with me. I promise you'll be glad you did. I've never had a complaint. Thousands of people now have come to my last 3 or 4 events, and I've never had well, that's not true. A complaint I get is that the breaks were too short, because I do 15-minute breaks to get as much freaking information in as I can. So anyway, trust me, you'll be glad you came if you do. But the point is, I could have given up then. I could have given up with that litigation support company. I didn't give up. I innovated, I pivoted, and I turned it into a $10 million company that I sold with 60 employees that I sold last year. And so, you know, tenacity beats talent all the time. You just can't give up. There's a book called 3 Feet from the Gold, about a true story about a miner that gave up on a mine, and somebody went in there, made millions. They were 3 feet from the gold. Literally, it's a literal story. You know, so again, you normal talent with extraordinary tenacity equals massive success every time. You decide, you take action, you don't give up. You do whatever needs to be done, even if it's the last freaking thing you feel like doing. Guys, it's late here for me. It's 8:41. I'm old and I'm tired, and I'm like, oh God, I've got to. But I feel great now that I'm on a roll. But you know, you just don't give up. You keep moving, right? You know, and you have courage, resolve, strength of character, strength of will. You recognize that it's a marathon, not a sprint. You stay focused on the goal. You stay motivated no matter what happens. You recognize that every setback and every failure is nothing but a seminar. It's feedback so you can be better. Okay. You believe in your mission, and you live with that passion. And again, you welcome that feedback. Especially the constructive feedback, because that's the only way you'll grow. So you come to my boot camp, you'll get a survey the next day. What did you love? What didn't you love? I don't read what you loved. I know how awesome it is, but I want to see what you didn't love so I can make it better. But that's the same way with life. That's the same way with your goals. When you get that feedback, you pivot. I'm going to give you a success formula. I stole this from Tony Robbins. Okay. If one way doesn't work, you keep your eye on that freaking goal and you change your approach. If that way doesn't work, you keep your eye on that and you change your approach. If that way doesn't work, you keep your eye on the goal and you change your approach. Rinse and freaking repeat. Okay. That's a success formula, guys. It's never a straight line to your goals. You know, pilots and boaters recognize that, you know, when they're on course to a destination, they're off course 95% of the time. Do they reach the destination? Yes, every time, but they're off course most of the time. It's the same way with your goals. Very, very important. Now let's talk about failure. I talked about it already. Again, we fail our way to success. You know, I think Henry Ford said an airplane takes off against the wind. I'm surprised they had planes back then, but it is his quote. You know, and again, without problems and feedback and setbacks, you know, we don't grow. So, and honestly, if you don't have any problems, you're not trying. I hate to break that to you, but it's the truth. All right. So now I want to talk, I've got 2 more topics to talk about. The first one is gratitude. And you guys, okay, you're like, okay, yawn. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you, if you want anything in life, it comes from a place of freaking gratitude. Every morning, I do a little thing back here in this freaking recliner. I've got vision boards back there. You can kind of see them against the wall there. They're a little, it's hard to see them, but they're there. And what I'll do is I'll just be grateful. I'll be grateful for my gorgeous, beautiful human being of a wife. I'll be grateful for my kids. I'll be grateful for my students, my foundation, and I'll just do gratitude. Just for a minute, 2 minutes, takes a minute. You can do it in bed, whatever. I highly recommend you do this. And then I'll do gratitude for the things that I want as if I already have them. Okay. I'll be like, thank you, God. And I'll do gratitude for things that I want. And I'll even get emotional sometimes over things that I want. I know I lost a few of you analytical ones on this, but this is how I had 50 million to lose and how I got back to what I have today. Okay. You know, I'm just telling you, this shit works. Okay. And you don't do it for that reason. Well, okay, yeah, you do. I guess you do. But gratitude is so freaking important. It builds your immune system. You know, it makes your heart stronger. It's impossible to be fearful and grateful at the same time. Impossible to be angry and grateful at the same time. Peter, my biggest mentor for mindset was Tony Robbins. And I'll tell you a story about that in just a second. Thank you for asking. You know, and I would encourage you to do a gratitude journal. In fact, what time is it? I'm going to do something. I'm going to give you guys another gift. I'm going to give you my planning process. It takes about do I have time? Do I have an extra 15 minutes? Okay. I'm going to give you a planning process because it's so freaking important. But anyway, back to gratitude. It brings you closer to your spirituality. So I'm going to encourage you to do a gratitude journal. Just what are you grateful for? Write it down. I did something for my wife where I bought this journal. It was 100 pages. And every day I filled up a page with what I loved about her. And there were days I did not freaking want to write in that thing. I was pissed at her or whatever. But here's what happened though. do you think I showed up differently in the relationship? Where was my focus on what I loved and adored and cherished about her? And I gave it to her for her birthday when it was done. And you can imagine how that went. So guys, gratitude is so freaking critical. The last thing I want to talk about is contribution before I do my little planning thing. And, you know, guys, we have two hands, one to pull ourselves up and one to pull someone up underneath us. And, you know, I was just talking to one of my coaches tonight. All my coaches in my mentorship program are hitters. I mean, I don't think I have one that has less than 600-700 doors. But, you know, I just told him, you're changing lives because, you know, that in fact, girl I was telling you about when we started that was in Baltimore, that was the shy, timid, didn't want to do it, now has 442 doors, was his student. And so guys, we are put on this earth to contribute. Everything in this universe, if it doesn't contribute, actually gets eliminated. Contribution is a basic human need, okay? And so, you know, let me share a story with you about this, and then I'll do my planning. So 20 years ago, well, more than 20 years ago, when I was 18, I knew I wanted to live on the beach, and there's no beach in Denver. And so 20 years later, I built this $8 million, 10,000 square foot mansion on the beach. Okay. And I mean, that was unthinkable when I was 18. So when you do your goals, take the lid off your brain and just imagine if you write it down, you're going to get it, because there's nothing you can't do, be, or have. Look at freaking Elon Musk, $3 billion startups, richest guy in the world now. There's nothing you can't do, guys. Okay. So anyway, so I built this mansion on the beach. This place was spectacular. Okay. I mean, it had a giant waterfall from the second floor into the pool in the back. It had the beach on one side. I had my boat houses on the other side. It was a Gulf to Bay, it was called. You know, it was like a slice through an island. To give you an idea of the house, it had a giant spiral staircase up through the middle of the house. On the second floor, I had aquariums that cost me almost $200,000. So it gives you an idea of the house. So anyway, I'm 2 months after I built it. I'm 2 months after we moved in. I'm floating in the pool at night. It's changing colors because it's got fiber optic lighting. And this is 2 months. And I worked for this thing for 20 freaking years. Now this ties into goals, which is one of the reasons I wanted to bring it up. 20 years I worked for this thing. 2 months after I moved in, I'm floating in the pool and I got depressed. And I don't mean just a little bummed. I mean, I was freaking bummed. And I'm like, what the hell? I've just achieved success like times 1,000 society standards. How could I possibly be bummed? And here's what was going on, guys. Number one is, like the good book says, without a vision, the people perish. I didn't have a vision for the future. It's like, what the hell am I going to do now? I didn't know what I was going to do next. So one key piece is make sure if you are about to achieve a big goal that you have other goals lined up behind it. Because it's not about the goals. You got to have them. I've got big goals. But it's not about that. It's the journey. It's your growth and your progress. Happiness doesn't come from the goal. It's very short-lived. Happiness comes from your growth and your progress. And we'll talk about that more in just a minute when I talk to you about planning. So anyway, so that was the second thing, the goals and the progress. The third thing was I'd been totally focused on me. I built this house, this testament to my ego, to prove to the world I was good enough. That's the truth of it. It's embarrassing to admit, but that's why I built this place, to show the world I mattered. And I'd been totally focused on Rod. And someone asked me about my mentor, and I read some books. I went out and got some books. I'm like, fuck this, I'm gonna fix this. So I got Dale Carnegie, Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins, and I started reading those books, and I got into Tony's book. I'm like, man, this is good stuff. And so I went to one of his boot camps, and I'll be honest, I followed him around the planet for the last 20 years. I was on his team for 8 years. I mean, if you have a chance to see him, just go see him. Trust me on that. But while he's still speaking. But anyway, I saw that he fed families for the holidays. I'm like, wow, what a concept. Do something for someone else. It took me till I was 40 to get that memo. And so I went back and fed 5 families. Third family changed my life. We did it for Thanksgiving. We got frozen turkeys. We got big boxes of food. We went to a church, said, who really needs help? I mean, really needs help. And this third family was in this shotgun house where you walk into the living room, you walk through the bedroom to get to the kitchen, which has the bathroom on it. So it's not even a one bedroom. It's like a shitty one bedroom because you got to walk through the bedroom to get to the kitchen. Anyway, the lady in there with 5 kids. She comes out, she sees this box of food, the frozen turkey, the roasting pan, toys for her kids, because we found out she had kids, and she starts crying. Her kids come out, the older ones start crying. I start crying. I'm blessed to say, guys, and again, I'm not telling you this to brag or for acknowledgement. I'm telling you this because it's important. We've now fed 95,000 kids for the holidays over the last 20 years. We've done tens of thousands of backpacks full of school supplies to local kids here. We've done tens of thousands of teddy bears to local police departments for their officers to put in their cars when they encounter a child that's been traumatized. And there's a difference between success and there's a difference between fulfillment. Now, I know if you're on this call, you might have blood dripping from your teeth. You want success so freaking bad. I'm here to tell you, you must incorporate giving back right now. You do not wait until you have success. Why? Because we've been taught to believe you achieve to be happy. When you give back in some fashion, you are happily achieving. And I'm going to tell you, it's a play on words, but it's an important play on words. You will get much further, much faster if you give back. Now, you don't do it for that reason, but when I tell you it comes back tenfold or 100-fold, it absolutely does. Okay. So, and so give back, adopt, find something you're truly passionate about. Kids, elderly, animals, the environment, whatever. Pick whatever it is and do something towards it consistently, and you will be happily achieving, and you will get much further, much faster. Trust me on that. Okay. And if you guys, I'm going to do a little plug here for this. It's probably one of the first times I've ever done this. I'm not kidding, but it's the Tiny Hands Foundation. I pay all the operational expenses and then some. I used to pay for it every year. The fact that in 2008, when everything crashed, I paid $50,000 out of my pocket, but then it was like, I can't do it anymore. So we take donations. There's the website, tinyhandsfoundation.org. And again, every dime goes to the food or the backpacks or the teddy bears. All right. Anyway, let's talk about planning. Guys, you've heard it. Fail to plan, plan to fail. Okay. You guys have big dreams. I'm going to give you a process, which is how I managed 2 very large companies at the same time. Okay. And I'm going to do it kind of quick because we're getting towards the end here, but I want to share this with you. It's so powerful. So it's a 5-step process. The first thing you do, which is not going to sound important, but hopefully after what I just said, you'll realize it is you look back at the last week and you see what you got done and you acknowledge it to yourself. You just pat yourself on the back. Good job, Rod. I don't care how small it is, because again, it's not about the goals. You are happy through progress and growth, not from the goals, but you've got to acknowledge it consciously. You can't overlook it. It takes a split second. So don't overlook this piece. It's critical, because are you going to have setbacks? Are you going to have delays? You bet. But if you're acknowledging your progress and your growth, you'll remain happy through that. Very important. Okay. Number 2 is, if you're not journaling, especially if you have kids, start journaling right now. At the least, journal some magic moments for 5 minutes on that weekly process. It's 5 freaking minutes. Anything you're grateful for, I promise you will thank me. Okay. I promise you. I did these journals with my kids. I did it not nearly as much as I would have liked. My daughter turns 30 in a few days. My son is 26. And I had him come over about 4 or 5 years ago, and we opened these up and she cried. We laughed. So many things you forget. Give yourself that gift. Trust me. Journal anything amazing that happened, anything grateful, just for 5 minutes. All right. All right. The next thing's the big one. You need to write down everything that's important in your life. And let me give you some tips here. First, you start with the people. Write all the important people in your life. Now, these are not associates. These are the people that really freaking matter. Like shouldn't be more, even in a big family, shouldn't be more than 20 people. Okay. So make a list of the people that matter. The next thing you need to write down is all the important high-level areas of your core W-2 job or your business that you have to pay attention to. If you own a business, maybe it's sales, marketing, IT, whatever. Like with one business I had 12 things. Now that is a big number. This is just the high level things that you have to think about on a weekly basis to make sure nothing gets dropped for your job or for your business. So take the time. It might only be 2 or 3 things. It might be 5 to 8 things. It would surprise me if it were more than 10. This is an impact list. These are the areas in that business or job that you are going to have the most impact. Make a list of those. Okay. Next, write down the pieces of this multifamily business that you need to focus on. Like maybe it's evaluating deals. Maybe it's building relationships with brokers, with potential investors, with potential partners. Maybe it's, learning this business more. Whatever it is, again, maybe 7 or 8 things. Maybe it's deciding what market you're going to invest in, talking to, property managers in that market, whatever it is. make a list of 7 or 8 things in this multifamily business. So you've got the people that matter, you've got the high level areas of your core business or job, and you've got these pieces of this multifamily business. Then lastly, put some declarations in there. Now, these are not goals, these are declarations. So maybe things like, health related. Like for me, I'm going to lift 1 body part a day. I'm going to read a good book for 30 minutes every day. I've got, what can I do to rock Tiffy's world? That's my wife's name. What can I do to rock her world? And so I've got those are my declarations. So you got the people, you got the 5 to 10 things or 12 things of your core business, 5 to 10 things in this multifamily business. You've got your declarations. Okay. The next step is you make your list of to-dos for the week. Okay. Now, of course, you're going to bring the stuff from last week, but this is just the stuff you're committed to doing that week. It's not a place for your goals. It's not a place for your projects. If you've got a project, you're only going to list the things you're doing that week towards that project. So the list is not overwhelming. So it's your must. I call it my weekly must list. Okay. Now I do this on a Word document. If you're a handwriter, by the way, that list you just did, you need to print it on 1 sheet of paper, or you need to handwrite it on 1 sheet of paper. And here's why that's really important. That piece of paper, it's your whole freaking life. It's everything that matters. It's right there on 1 sheet of paper. So not only are you getting clarity, and what is clarity? Clarity is power. You're getting clarity on your life. Secondly, it greatly diminishes, if not eliminates, overwhelm. And I know that's counterintuitive, but when you see it all on 1 sheet of paper, it's not scary. It's not overwhelming. So that's another thing. But thirdly, most important, nothing gets dropped. If there's someone you need to reach out to in your business or personally, you're not going to forget. If there's something you need to do, you're not going to forget. So you look at that sheet of paper once a week, and you do your task list, right? And you've got balance. You maintain balance. Nothing gets dropped. All right. So you make your to-do list. Again, it's not a place for projects. It's not a place for goals. It's just what you're committed to doing. 2 more quick steps. On every list, there are always a few things that will get you further faster. It's called the Pareto Principle. It's the 80-20 rule. It's that 20% that'll get you 80% further. They're always there. You need to identify those things, and then you block time for them. And I'm going to tell you, when you do that process, you're staying happy because you're growing. You're not missing anything because you've written everything down that matters. You're celebrating your progress. You're journaling, so you're capturing magic moments. You're focused on what's most important, and you're blocking time for it. Now, listen up. This is important. If you find that when you're with the people that matter, you are distracted, you're on your freaking phone, or you're thinking about work, and you're not giving them your presence, you better freaking block time for them. And I'm not kidding. Your kids, your spouse. My greatest regret in life to this day was I'd go home to that mansion on the beach and I'd play with my kids, but I wasn't there mentally. I was distracted. It's my greatest regret to this day. Now, they'll tell you I was a great dad, but I didn't live up to my own expectations. I don't want that for you. And this will prevent that from happening. I hope this resonated with you guys. Listen, just let me mention again, I put the website in. If you want to come to my boot camp, it's multifamilyvirtualbootcamp.com. It's $97. I don't sell anything there. For a nominal upcharge, you can buy the recordings. If you can't make it that weekend, it's on a weekend. It's February. Oh crap. I should know that off the top of my head, but I don't. Hang on. I'll give you the date. I think it's the 27th and 28th, but I'll have it in 5 seconds here. It's the 20th and 21st. Okay. And again, nothing being sold. I mean, it's drinking through a fire hose. If you're serious about this business, it's $97 with that code RODFRIEND, and it's kind of a no-brainer. I'm happy to stay for a few minutes, take questions if you want. We could do another session about multifamily at some point as well if you're interested, but hopefully you guys got a little value and got a little juice.
Oh, absolutely. The cup is overflowing with ideas. And one thing I like about what you said, it actually gave actionable steps that people can take. Because a lot of times I think people can get juiced up and motivated, but then they don't have anywhere to direct it. But having these things to help step them through how to get going has been very helpful.
No, my pleasure. Yeah. So like I said, there's the website. Thank you for putting that up, Tim. And it's Rod Friend. Anyway. Yeah. If you're not listening to my podcast, I think you really enjoy it. Like I said, we just broke 10 million downloads, which just blows my mind. And or if you like to watch YouTube, my YouTube videos got watched over 30,000 hours last year, which also blows my freaking mind. But, I think you can tell I'm passionate about this and I love it. And I love talking about it. And I'm very responsive. If you DM me on Facebook, you'll get a response every time. So anyway, yeah.
Wow. Hutch, you're still muted, buddy.
Yeah, I'm here, man. That's some powerful stuff, man. We definitely would love for you to talk about some multifamily specific stuff, but that's a whole different 2, 3, 4, 10-hour conversation. Or
well, no, I can do like
I
can do like the fundamentals some point. It's an hour thing, but guys,
Absolutely.
if you're interested,
Yeah.
come spend a weekend with me. It's truly a no-brainer because nothing's being sold. So it's just content. So anyway,
that was going to be my recommendation.
We're already over, I think we're pushing 500 people already. And I love this, and you'll see it when you come. So. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So before I get distracted again, can everyone turn the camera on so we can take a picture? If you don't mind, it'd be greatly appreciated. That's the Zoom selfie. It's a thing now. To give you biggest smile. Okay. All right.
Tell us when.
Okay. Go to page. Okay. Come back to page 1. Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right. Page. 1 second. Page 2. Smile. 1, 2, 3. All right. Appreciate it.
I love. They call it the Zoomie.
Yeah, I saw that. I never heard that. That's awesome.
I hadn't either.
I had a question, Rod. What time would it be on the 20th and 21st?
Yeah, so I do it. I don't kill my Pacific Coast people, so we go from 11 to like 7.
Okay.
So that that I don't kill the people in California. And again, it is drinking through a fire hose, but it's every single aspect of this business. Nothing gets left behind. Property management, raising money, syndication, finding deals, everything you can think. Let me show you something. You get most of these books. I don't know if you can see these. You get most of these. The manual, hang on. Where's the manual? There's the manual, okay? There's no fluff, okay? I'm not selling it. It's just pure content. It's a dub, seriously, and you'll love it. You'll freaking love it. I have 3 panels a day with hitters answering all your questions. We have a lot of fun, and I talk about mindset as well. Like I say, we start with the goal setting. Don't miss that because I will help you get more clear on your goals and your whys, which is really the driving force in all this. So it is,
okay.
You may not think it's important. It's the most important.
Yeah, I get a question if I can ask.
Yeah.
First, thanks for being here. It's the first time I've heard you speak, and it's a real pleasure. So it's a weird question. Do you consider yourself a kind of a mindset person first and a real estate person second, and maybe it's a close second, or kind of?
I love talking about mindset. That's why I followed Tony Robbins around the planet for 20 years and did 2 or 3 events a year. Because I love that. I love feeling. I love emotion. Because I know the power of it. And I've seen so many examples of success by people that have adopted it. But I also love real estate. I mean, we bought 2,300 units in the last 18 months with our students. And in fact, we're just raised 13 million in the last 5 days on a Dallas deal. And I love the business, but yeah, I definitely like mindset more. But I, what I do for a living is teach real estate. So, I mean, listen, there's some of the thank you cards. You can see more of them back there.
Right.
I mean, I freaking love this. I've only been teaching for 3 years, and it's the only reason my wife puts up with me working this late at night. She's in the bedroom and I'm working on Saturdays, Sundays, whatever, because she knows I'm passionate and I love this stuff. So.
I'll just say one last thing, because in my own, I've been in real estate for a while, and I had some bumps. I'm a little bit new to multifamily, but I've started to think about real estate actually as a means to, like in your case, maybe like sharing your love and passion for mindset and its effectiveness. And for me and myself and some.
Oh, you should do it, man. You'll be so glad you did. I mean, and I'm happy to share notes. I've had so many of my students start podcasts, start meetups, Facebook. I mean, I work closely with ADPI. I know you guys know those guys. I wrote the foreword for their book. By the way, I did a big piece on veteran suicide and raised money for that through the podcast with Eric. You guys know him, I'm sure. And and it's just so rewarding to see people, you know, I've got people formed a mastermind. I was at their mastermind in Jamaica. Those were students that did that mastermind, Hutch. And, you know, so I would highly encourage you, if you're passionate about it, to do it, because life will never be the same again. I'll just tell you that, Pete. So.
All right. Two big questions, Rod. One is about your projection for 2021.
I think 2021, we're going to be fine. Now, beyond that, I think we're in trouble. I think we're going to have a crash. Now, in trouble is the wrong word. Let me rephrase that. I think there's going to be opportunity. I think we're going to have a crash, and I think it's going to be a doozy. And you know, I've had doom and gloomers on my podcast, Terry Dent, and you know, and I even did a YouTube video. Got so much hate for it. But it was my highest watched YouTube video ever, like 80,000 views. The coming real estate crash of 2021, and I think I'm going to be off by a year, because I think we're going to throw more stimulus at this thing, and I think it'll prop it up for another year. But beyond that, I think we're going to pay the piper. Now, is that something to fear? No, it's something to get ready for. Like, I'm in a lot of cash right now. I want to get in as much cash now. Even if you don't have access, if you don't have cash, then I would encourage you to build relationships with investors and tell them, hey, we're getting ready. Okay, when the stuff hits the fan, I know you don't think it's going to happen, but if it does, we're going to kick butt. Okay, now sorry for the expression, when the blood's running in the streets, you can't be afraid, my friend. You've got to be ready to pounce, because that's when the real money is made. When the media is saying, oh, this is going to be terrible for 10 years, that's when you pounce, because they haven't got a clue. Okay. So, you know, but I think opportunity is coming. I really do. I think 2021 is going to be awesome, though. You know, they're going to throw trillions of dollars against it. And people just don't realize how much money that really is, and the inflationary impact of that. And that's what's scary, honestly. If you take a look on Google, $1 million versus $1 trillion, and see the difference in how much money it is, and it'll blow your mind. And you know, we've already got a 20-some trillion dollar deficit. I mean, I think we're going to see some pain. So again,
right.
But there will be opportunity. With crisis comes opportunity.
All right, one last question before we head into the networking session, Rod. Is what did 2020 taught you, and what surprised you about 2020?
Well, I will tell you, there were a lot of beautiful things that happened out of 2020. My wife and I taking walks and meeting people we'd never met before that live right around the corner, and connecting more, and all of that. It reminded me about innovation, which was awesome, because I'd innovate and go on, you know, do a live stream. And I've got this cool studio, you know, being built here in my compound. By the way, I lost my house on the beach. It's, you know, in all the craziness. And now I've got this compound. I have 6 buildings, a giant main house, beautiful guest house on the water, media building with a video studio. And because God's got a sense of humor, you can see my old house across the bay that I lost. It's literally right out my backyard. But it taught me that you know, you can innovate, you can pivot, you can do, you know, you can make lemonade out of lemons. And I'd forgotten about that. I did it back in 2010, but I did it again this last year, and we had a record-breaking year in our businesses. And so, you know, it taught me that focus is everything. And so again, like I said earlier, if you're going through some stuff right now, well, Winston Churchill says, if you're going through hell, keep going. But I will tell you, take a look in the mirror, see if there's any way you can innovate, think outside the box, maybe even reinvent yourself if you have to. Just focus on what you want, and you'll make it happen.
Boom.
Man,
Boom.
drop.
All right.
All right, guys.
Boom.
Thank you for this. Thank you for the gift of allowing me to add value. I hope I see some of you at my boot camp. I promise you'll be glad you came. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna sign out. Quit ignoring my wife. Take
Thank
care,
you.
guys. See you later.
All
Thank
right.
you very much,
All right.
Rod.
You bet.
Great evening.
My pleasure.
Good night, everyone.
Oh, we're getting a question. Where is your boot camp? I think we put.
Oh, it's online. It's virtual. You got to suffer through me on the camera, and it's hard. Let me tell you, it's hard as hell for me, because in front of a few, like 800 people, I get all that love and the clapping and everything. And I got to look at my stone-faced videographer for freaking 8 hours a day. But I keep the energy up. You know, if you go onto my Facebook group and you search the word boot camp, you will see hundreds of unsolicited testimonials. Okay. Hundreds. I have the largest Facebook group on multifamily. If you go in there and just search the word bootcamp, you'll see, but it's February 20th, 21st. It's recorded. You can buy the recordings for like $100 or something. And yeah, and it's all online. So it's easy.
Thanks.
Oh, my pleasure. All right, guys. Take care. Oh, thank
All
you,
right, man. Have
Ken.
a
A
good
lot of
night.
value. Thank you, brother. And
Yeah.
I know Jefferson certainly has been there as well. I don't know if he stayed on, but
Yeah.
Oh, he's
Also,
gone.
please,
Okay.
yeah, please express our appreciation to Miss Tiffany for making all this happen.
Oh, you got it. You got it. You got it.
All right.
All right,
Okay.
guys. Take care. Be well and go connect. Go network. That's the most important part of this business. All right, guys. See you later.
Take care.